Hi, and welcome to my channel, Train, Don't Strain with me, Mountain Jace. This channel is all about gym training the evolutionary way, which simply means getting more from your workouts by avoiding the perils of cheat training. That is to say, showing you exactly how to isolate a single muscle and then train it deep into the debilitation zone. This is the point beyond which you have micro-torn so many fibers that the body is compelled, out of self-preservation, to not only repair the muscle, but to build it back better, thus bestowing future performance enhancements. Anything you do that falls below this cutoff, the body simply includes within its general maintenance duties. Or, put another way, when it does get round to repairing any damage to the muscle, because it sees so many fibers are left untorn, it will only repair it back to its original state and no more. Getting fit is all about pushing this boundary, not entrenching it. So, the first thing you'll need to do to stand any chance of getting on the right path up to your peak fitness potential is lower your weights. And tough as it may be on your ego, by as much as 50% to start with. I know this seems counterintuitive, but it's far, far better for the muscle in terms of being able to train into the debilitation zone to have 100% of a smaller amount of weight being trained along its entire positive and negative range than cheat training, where only 10% along 20% of this range of a much heavier amount is chosen. This is because when you take a weight that is fundamentally too heavy for just one muscle to control, your body's instinct is to incorporate other nearby muscles and bones and even your own body mass. All of which means there is no chance of tearing enough fibers in the muscle you're meant to be training to force it into the debilitation zone. Consider for a second what I'm stating here, which is, in order to activate a muscle that may only get gym trained once a week, it is imperative that it undergoes such intensity of use that the body is required to not only repair great chunks of damaged fibers, but to also build back better. This is what gives you future performance enhancements. And this just won't happen if you're cheat training. It's as simple as that. You may think you look cool flinging around heavy weights, but there is just no physiological mechanism by which you will get fitter and stronger when the force of this weight is being carried by multiple other parts of your body. I explain this in much greater detail in my Foundations of Fitness series of videos. They will radically change the way you approach your gym workout sessions. Anyway, time is precious, so let's jump straight in. Today, I want to show you exactly how to train the back or lat muscles using the horizontal rowing pull machine. But before I do, I highly recommend you quickly click over and watch my recent video called "You'll be shocked, angry, and embarrassed by this simple gym test," to see exactly how well, or not as the case so often is, you have trained your lats up to this point. I'm guessing the results will help add extra urgency as to why you should then resume watching this particular video. Welcome back. So, what I'm going to say now, because it is fundamentally grounded in evolutionary logic and truth, applies to the way you should train absolutely every muscle at the gym. The key points I'm about to highlight aren't there just to annoy you or make things seem more complicated than you would like. No, far from it. I'm telling you things that will take your return on your fitness investment from 10 to 20% up to and beyond the amount needed to enter the debilitation zone at around 70%. As proof of this, if you follow my suggestions, at the end of 3 sets, you should be breathing as heavily as if you had just run 60 meters up a steep hill because you'll have burnt oxygen from your blood as your muscles do intense work. Your lats should feel a degree of pain you've never experienced before, and then in a day or so, ache like they've never ached before. And finally, you should have no desire to go on and do endless amounts of other lat exercises. See my video called Dumb Things I Saw at Gym Today, number 2, because you will have successfully done the job you set out to do. Train a muscle in a way that the body is forced to build back better. Anyway, the first important thing is making sure you choose the right seat height. Energy, like water, prefers to flow in a line. If your hands and elbows are on the same horizontal plane as your shoulders, there is no way the fibers right down in your lower back will ever be engaged. You have to make sure your elbows are as far down by your side as possible. This makes things a lot harder because now only your lats are being used, so definitely reduce your weights. So put the seat up high and make sure the imaginary line along which the handles you're holding when you rotate your elbows back behind you intersects with the middle of your lats. I'll show you exactly what I mean in a moment. Next, everyone cheats at the exact same point of this move, i.e. when your arms are locked out straight in front of you. This is because, as I explained in my last video, when the bones in your arms are temporarily fixed, a 1 centimeter thrust generated from either your legs or pushing your entire body backwards equals an identical 1 centimeter move in the handles. Whereas, when your elbows are open at an angle, it is like pulling on a piece of rope tied to a big stone, which isn't taut, but has kinks in it. If you give it a tug, all that happens to start with is the rope becomes straighter while the stone itself remains unaffected. So, to avoid this, do the following evolutionary techniques. Never lock your arms out straight. Never accelerate backwards at this point of the extension, but start pulling on the handles at a slow and constant speed. Always keep the energy of your body moving forward into the pad you rest your chest on. Never break this connection and never lean back as you also pull back. Oh, and never do single arm moves on this machine. All that will happen is you'll torque thrust your hips and legs as one side of your body is under tension to give the impression you are training when you're most certainly not. Finally, once you sit on the seat, make sure your bum doesn't move, not even 1 millimeter, either up and downwards or forwards and backwards. If it does, you've thrown away any chance of hitting the lats into the debilitation zone, because all you've achieved is body mass displacement. Keep an eye on your weights as you train. They should rise and fall at a constant pace in a 1:3 ratio, 1 being the time to complete the first part or positive move, and 3 being the length of time you should control the weight to complete the negative return section. The stack should not accelerate uncontrollably upwards as you cheat when your arms are locked out at the start of each repetition, and they should not free fall all the way down again as you disengage and rest the muscle along the negative part of the move, allowing gravity to do its thing. The gaps between each set should be only around 1 minute long, and you must have to reduce the weight after the first set and after the second set, because it is impossible to have torn great chunks of muscle fibre and at the very same time get stronger. That's a factual impossibility that only idiots fool themselves into believing is true. Anyway, let me put my lats where my mouth is and show you exactly what I mean.
So,
This is me taking up my position at a standard lat rowing machine. The arrow confirms that my elbows are down by my side, not high up at the same level as my shoulders. I do this to engage the entire length of my lats and not only the top section. My chest remains fixed against the front pad at all times, which stops me using my legs and body to thrust backwards as I pull the handles towards me. See how I'm continuously in control and engaged with the weight, no free falling on the negative section. And that's the first set in the bag. I'm already breathing heavily as proof that my lat muscles have burnt oodles of oxygen through intense usage. For the next set, I've moved the camera so that you can see me train from a slightly different angle. Note how my bum isn't lifting off and then falling back onto the seat. All the energy needed to move the handles is coming from my lats. When my elbows are traveling backwards, I ensure my body energy is continuously moving into the front pad. Let's quickly take a close look at what the weights are doing as I'm training. See how much control and thus power I'm using to raise the weight and then take it down again slowly. I'm using the 1:3 ratio, meaning it takes me 3 times as long to lower or complete the negative section as it takes me to do the positive. And that's it. No cheating, no leg thrusting, no allowing my lat muscles to rest for 50% of the move as gravity pulls my arms forward. It's total engagement at all times, from start to finish, and with my lungs gasping for fresh air to categorically prove I've taken the lats deep into the debilitation zone. Now go do the right thing. This is me, Mountain Jace, saying out. Out!